Hey everyone, so today I wanted to make another sit down talk kind of video with you guys about something that I feel is really important, and that's never apologizing for being yourself. This is something that I always have to remind myself of, especially when I put myself out on the internet. It seems like no matter what you do, no matter how nice you are, no matter how positive you are, no matter what kind of energy you're putting out into the world, even if you have the best of intentions, there are always going to be people that come along and judge you and tell you what you're doing wrong and tell you that you're a lousy person or twist you around and make you sound negative. A lot of times it's done in a really direct, rude way, but a lot of times it's done in a passive-aggressive, constructive criticism kind of way. And all too often, I find myself, when I get like certain comments online from people complaining about the way I did a video or complaining about something about me and the way I talk about my dolls, I find myself apologizing and feeling bad, like I did something wrong. And that's how I've been my whole life. I always feel bad if like I rub someone the wrong way or I make someone uncomfortable if someone doesn't like me. Like, that's my fault. And the truth of the matter is, it's not. You are you, and you can only be you. And I can only be me. I am Shelly. I can't be anyone else. And if you don't like that, then you're entitled to your opinion. But I'm not sorry. And it's really blunt to say, but I'm not. And you shouldn't be either. You shouldn't feel like you need to apologize to people for being yourself. It takes a brave person to put themselves out there, whether it's in real life or on the internet, and be who they really are. Presenting yourself as who you truly are is scary, because when people throw judgments and people say mean things, they're actually critiquing you, and that hurts. And what's ironic is a lot of times the people that leave that kind of criticism, whether in person or online, they're too scared to be who they really are. And I think that sometimes that's intimidating. If you walk around and you have bright colored hair or a lot of tattoos, or you're a grown-up and you have dolls, that can intimidate people because clearly you don't care what anyone thinks. That can bother other people and they'll want to make you feel bad. I think that there's kind of two different types of responses that people have. There are the people who get really angry and like will cuss you out if you criticize them. Or there are the people like me who will apologize and feel bad and feel like they did something wrong. And I think that there's a good middle ground. It's never right to sink to someone's level and to be mean. And trust me, if I am looking at comments and someone said something really mean and uncalled for, I am thinking pretty fresh, nasty comebacks in my head, but I would never ever put them out on the internet or never say that to someone's face, because that's not who I am and that's not who I want to be, and that doesn't accomplish anything. Then there's that other part of me that feels bad, and I oftentimes find myself typing comments like, I'm sorry that you didn't like this, or I'm sorry that you don't like me. That's a waste of time. And I really shouldn't feel that way, and you shouldn't feel that way. Too many people apologize. And you'll see it all the time when you watch videos, apologizing for not wearing makeup, or apologizing for looking a certain way, or apologizing for being in a certain mood, or apologizing for talking too much, or for having too many dolls or something. And the reality is, you shouldn't feel bad for those things, and if people don't like it, then who are they to tell you off for it? And I think a really good story I have for this, which has nothing to do with dolls actually, what happened about, I want to say 3 years ago, when I was 21, 22. So I was at the flea market shopping for dolls. And I was inside the building with my sister, and we were looking at all these box Barbies. And this older guy comes up to me, and he was probably in his 60s. Granted, keep in mind, I'm in my early 20s, and he's in his 60s. He was an older guy. He comes up to me and makes the point of telling me that he doesn't like my orange hair, that I would be more attractive without the orange hair, and asking me what my parents think, which, P.S., very rude because I didn't have parents by that point in my life. And he made this whole big production out of approaching a young girl to tell her why he didn't like her hair, as if I was supposed to be like, you're right, sir, I will go home and I will color my hair a natural color just for you. And see, for some reason, even though I'm really sensitive, I thought that that was funny because I had had orange hair for so long at that point that I was kind of used to the stares. But that was the first time anyone actually came up to me and said something like rude. And I thought, how ironic is that? Here is a person who is like 2-3 times my age, wasting their time on their weekend to tell me that they don't like my hair. And the way I responded with that was just I smiled and I said, oh, I like my orange hair. My dad always liked it. And I just carried on with shopping. And I could tell that my reaction totally threw him off. I don't know if he was expecting me to cry or be a punk because I had orange hair, but I didn't act that way. And I've actually seen him a few times at the flea market, and he's been nice to me ever since. He'll make a joke about my orange hair, like, I see you're having an orange day, but he's always much nicer. And I think that if anyone learned anything from that experience, it was him. And I shouldn't feel bad for how I look, and I shouldn't feel bad if other people want to make a point of criticizing me and coming up to me and saying mean things. And it's the same thing online. And you guys shouldn't either. You only have one life, and you shouldn't suppress who you are, try to fit a mold to make other people happy. Because what's the point? At the end of the day, you're the one that has to look in the mirror and see yourself, and you're the one that has to live with the consequences of your actions, and you're the one who has to make decisions for yourself, and you're not going to make everyone happy, and not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. And that's really, really, really hard to wrap your head around, and I struggle with that sometimes too, because I want to make everyone happy, and I don't want anyone to not like me, not because I care about, like, being beloved by all, but because I feel bad if, like, I make someone else uncomfortable. But who are other people to judge? If someone doesn't like you or doesn't like the things you do, they choose to subject themselves to you. They choose to watch your videos, the whole thing, and then comment. They choose to look at your pictures. They choose to approach you in person or to look at you. I think that people need to spend way less time looking at other people and spend way more time looking inward at themselves. If you like dolls, and your parents or your friends or other people judge you for it, don't listen to them. Who are they to judge? I stopped collecting dolls for like 5 years of my life because I felt ashamed about it. I wondered what would happen if people knew that I liked dolls. What if my dad one day woke up and thought I was too old for them? But you know what? I'm so glad that I changed my mind and I got back into them, because this is who I really am. And before, when I tried to be like everyone else and I tried to fit into a mold, I wasn't happy. I was the most depressed I had ever been. I hated myself. I would cry every day. I would not want to wake up and get out of bed. I had no motivation to do anything because I wasn't being myself. Since I decided to stop caring about what I should be and who I should be, I've become much happier. There are always going to be people that try to stop you and that try to tell you what you're doing is wrong. But as long as what you do is what you love and it makes you happy and you're not hurting anyone else intentionally by doing it, go for it. And I know that I have a lot of people who are younger who watch my videos who worry about going into middle school or going into high school and still liking dolls. And the biggest regret that I have about that time in my life is that I tried so hard to be someone that I wasn't. If I could go back in time, I would totally do that differently. I would be shamelessly myself. And I know it sounds corny because that's what everyone tells you, but it's true. You never know when your time is going to come, when your life is going to end. You're never going to know when circumstances change. And so you should savor every moment, and you should live every moment as being yourself. And you should never, ever, ever feel sorry about that. If someone comes along and they criticize you or they say something rude to you and they try to make you feel bad, don't meet that with a response of anger, and don't apologize. If there's someone on the internet, it's so easy. Just delete the comment. Don't respond. Don't give them any bit of your time. And if it's in person, just say I am who I am. Obviously, the person who is taking time out of their life to criticize someone else and to complain about someone else is the one with the bigger problems. Life is way too short. Why would you ever want to waste a second of your valuable time talking to someone or about someone that you don't like? it's not productive. It's not productive of you as the person receiving that negativity to respond to it. I've wasted way too much time of my life trying to come up with a nice apologetic response to people who on my photos or videos and say something mean and leave me their negative feedback that I didn't ask for. We all exist, and if you put yourself on the internet or if you live your life and you're around other people, of course it's expected that there are going to be people that come at you and say rude things, but that doesn't mean you're asking for it. And nobody in the world that I know of actually likes to get unsolicited criticism. Nobody. And if you turned around and said something rude or critical back at that person, they wouldn't like it any more than you do. Let them waste their time. They're the ones that should be sorry, not you. Whether it's someone you know in real life, or whether it's someone that comes along on an anonymous account with no picture of themselves and decides to let you have it and gives you their opinion. It doesn't matter who it is saying it to you. It don't matter. Let it roll off your back. If life were a car ride, they're that person on the side of the road that you don't want to ask directions from. Just keep driving by and let them disappear out of your rearview mirror, because they're insignificant. You have too many things to do and too much stuff to accomplish and your life to live. You don't want to be slowed down by people who want to be rude, who want to be mean, and who want to be critical. You can be better than that, and I can be better than that. And that's one of my personal resolutions that I have been working really hard on, is to not give those people the time of day. Be you. Be authentically you, and be shamelessly you, and never apologize. Because at the end of the day, the people who are really important, they'll learn to tolerate you for being you, or they'll learn to support you. And the people who can't do either of those things, they're just not worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe you guys could relate to this, or maybe if you're someone on the other end of it who goes around and wastes their time criticizing other people, maybe you can see now that you're wasting your own time. So until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life, and always be you.